We're going to take a look at the 361 USA Meraki 4. It's a neutral heavy-duty daily trainer. I'm going to take them out for a run and give you my impression. Hi everybody, Sam from Road Trail Run. We're going to take a closer look at the 361 USA Meraki 4 ahead of our multi-tester review, which is coming real soon. So the Meraki is what I would call a classic daily trainer. So it has about an 8-9 millimeter drop. It has tons of durable rubber. It has plenty of cushion of sort of the firmer, more responsive variety. It has a secure upper that focuses on hold with plenty of comfort. So let's look at a few details. One key feature of most 361 shoes, if not all, is their quick foam technology. So the black here, you can see, it's a rubberized soft foam that's wrapped in a TPU skin. So that provides a responsive kind of rebound under the foot. And for the 4, they now have what they call their light EVA, LT EVA, so it's a lighter EVA. But the key feature that I've noticed on the first run is what they call the quick spine. So you can see it looks like carbon, but it's actually a fiberglass plate. And unlike some of the midfoot plates that you see, for example, from ASIC, Trustic Plate Across, or even Adidas Torsion, this is a relatively narrow plate right in here, and it provides a little tiny bit of guidance. This is not a stability shoe. There's no medial posting. It doesn't extend to the medial side, so it gives you, I find it gives me a really nice kick. You have plenty of outsole rubber here. This is a shoe that should last hundreds and hundreds of miles. There's a nice decoupled groove, central groove. I'm one run in. There's plenty of flexibility ahead of the plate. In terms of the upper, it's an engineered mesh, relatively dense but super well ventilated. My first runs were in super humid conditions. Excellent breathability for this kind of dense mesh. A very adequate toe bumper. You see the red here. That is 361's More Fit system, and I'm going to show you here where it plays out on the inside. Essentially, it is an overlay, or underlay, if you will, that ties the shoe together, so you get a really solid wrap. This is a shoe that just really locks super well down on the foot. In terms of the tongue, it's a little bit overdone. It's one of those newer kind of anatomical tongues, but it has quite a bit of padding. It's a teeny bit awkward. It slips, but a bit. But overall, when I laced them up, that was once and kind of done. Laces are just kind of a tubular, soft material. We have what looks like very plush collars, but they're not overly soft, so the heel hold is great. In this molded heel counter, very substantial. Reminds me of some of the ASICs. So I'm going to take them out for a run, but this is your shoe that really is kind of your dependable, everyday, any kind of run partner. It is not particularly light. It comes in at 10.6 ounces, 300 grams in a US 9, and I guess you're paying for all that in weight, for all that rubber in particular, and the very sturdy hold. I didn't notice the weight whatsoever. It flowed along really smoothly on my first run, which was slow. It's $130. In terms of the stack height, the full stack height is about 31 at the heel, 23 and a half at the forefoot. So adequate, but you'll have that thinner, more agile forefoot feel here. So it's $130. It will go come to market when it comes out of the ports in the US sometime in the early to mid-August. So I'm going to take them out for a run and give you my impressions from the run. So running south on 1A. How was our ride? Well, very energetic, protective and energetic, with a very distinct rebound that isn't the soft kind of bouncy kind. It's more the layers working together. Outsole and midsole layers are really well matched here. So we're at Bass Beach here, right at the Rye Northampton town line. So let's talk about the fit of our Meraki 4. Okay, so I am at my true to size, and the fit is true to size, no question about it. Plenty of toe box height, length, a bit snug across the ball of the foot, but that's I would say that's appropriate to kind of lock me down on this more kind of flexible ride. The more fit works brilliantly. Less kind of pressure than a gusset would, but a very solid hold. The heel counter, that big heel counter, is felt as really gripping you. A bit heavy in feel, the heel counter, not so much underfoot, but the heel counter, but it really locks down the foot. So this is a very, very secure fit with more than adequate comfort. It's really well executed. The tongue lacing, I've never had to adjust these, although you see the tongue has rotated and slipped a bit to the side. That's a little bit of a minus, but overall very, very comfortable, but not plush, overly stretchy, kind of an upper that just doesn't really work beyond walking. And neither is it overly constricting. So this is a training shoe upper for multi-paces, really. So back from my second run, and it was a nice one, about 5.26 miles, and my pace ended up at 9:40, so it was a progression, as I usually do. So let's talk about the ride. So the ride is very consistent in feel. It's a relatively firm overall ride, but you're well dampened by the quick foam underfoot, and that kind of takes a bit of the edge off. And then up front, there's kind of a softer, easier toe off. Now, if you look underneath, you can see the quick foam actually is exposed. It comes through, so it's almost like a central core, a bit like the Wave Sky from Mizuno. This is by no means a overly firm ride. It's more kind of a protective, dense ride. There's plenty of cushion here, plenty of stability. And I found in 2 runs, the first run being a much slower run, that it likes to go just about all paces, except probably very fast because of the weight. If there's a con on this shoe of any consequence, it's the weight, which is 10.6 ounces or 300 grams. And that starts to be felt as you really start to push the pace, but not as much as many other big shoes. It runs not as kind of flat feeling as the Mizuno Wave Sky 5. If you're looking at, say, Nike and the Pegasus, you don't have that sensation of the front AirPod at slower paces. And I think the Pegasus really requires kind of a dynamic stride or a heavier runner more on the forefoot. Here, you can easily be a heel striker, midfoot striker with our quick spine, which I definitely notice on the go, kind of impulses me forward. You can see as I said, the quick foam showing through. I would like to see the outsole more segmented longitudinally to kind of really roll you very nicely forward. So other than the maybe a bit more forward flow, my only other con is the tongue does seem to rotate a bit. And I noticed that while our more fit is really, really secure, it could maybe be toned down a little bit around the midfoot. It felt a bit warm. It may be just a little bit in the way of my stride. The heel counter is really massive here, really massive. It felt a little heavy, not bottom heavy. The shoe never felt bottom heavy, but it felt a little bit kind of massive, even though its hold was superb. In terms of the overall ride, who's this shoe good for? Who might it work for? Well, this is really a classic heavy-duty daily trainer. It's maybe not your speed shoe or your tempo shoe, but for absolutely everything else, it's a really great option because I've run slow in them, I've run at moderate paces, and the flow is really, really excellent here. I never feel bogged down. For example, I've recently been in the Levitate 5 from Brooks, and that's a shoe that requires kind of either a heavy landing or a heavier runner and a faster pace to come alive. Otherwise, while very pleasant, it's always kind of slower than I expected. Whereas here, it all paces so far, except very fast, and I did pick it up a little bit. We just have a very consistent feel. There's plenty of protective cushion here. It's not soft, it's not bouncy, though you do get some bounce out of the quick foam. It's just very consistent and steady. They have more than adequate stability, I think, from the quick spine plate through there. Kept me well aligned. As promised, they said it would provide a touch of guidance. And the guidance, it's more down the center of the shoe than across the sides. I generally don't really like pronation support across the sides, and we even see it in some neutral shoes. So with all that rubber, look at all that rubber, this shoe should really be very durable. Last a long, long time. This is really a very good value in a stalwart kind of heavy-duty workhorse trainer. I think it would be a great option for high school runners who need a single shoe, college runners, just a single reliable, durable shoe. It's also a good option for a heavier neutral runner who may kind of destroy their shoes. I think it'll prove durable. The hold is impeccable. The ride is smooth for such a big shoe. It definitely runs somewhat lighter than its weight until you really get up to some faster paces. So a really nicely done job here by 361, which in this shoe kind of competes in the kind of daily trainer, heavier duty daily trainer class. I certainly like this kind of somewhat firmer, stable shoe for recovery runs because you don't have to think about what you're doing. It'll move you right along. So it's really a nice new option. It's coming in August, $130. We're going to have a full written multi-test review over at RoadTrailRun.com. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing.